Please get in your safe space. As of right now, the National Weather Service is now calling this a particularly dangerous situation. We saw 2 of them. This was one vortex, and this was another vortex right here. But this was short-lived, and this is the one that actually grew a little bit stronger out there. Confirmed EF2 tornado with peak winds at around 115 miles per hour. It was on the ground for around just over 3 miles. We will see even cooler conditions than that heading into early Monday morning and early Tuesday morning due to this colder air mass settling into the Arctic from the north. The far northern portions of the Arctic may even see a few flurries here as a result of this system rolling through the region. Texarkana reached a high of 93 degrees, just 1 degree shy of where they are as of right now. Smashed their record of 89. No big temperature changes are expected here out of this system, but once again, severe weather is possible and that active pattern is expected to return. A marginal risk of severe weather for most areas around I-30 and southward, and in the far southern portions of the Arctic look to have the highest risk for severe weather.
This is a KSLA First Alert Weather Day.
And good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back. Here's a look at the forecast throughout this afternoon ahead of us, and we should see mostly clear skies overhead and still dealing with the northerly winds as a result of the colder air mass that set into the Arctic just last night here. Temperatures should only make their way into the 30s across the region, but we could see some areas rise into the upper 30s out there, and this may be a high enough level to start some melting out there in terms of the icy roadways, but it won't be lasting for long here. The melting that is around 32 by Idabel and Mount Pleasant, 34 by Texarkana and Shreveport, 38 by Natchitoches, 36 for Center and Mansfield, around 35 over by Nacogdoches. We will still be under this extreme cold warning until noon on Tuesday, and that tells us that we are in for another extremely cold night ahead of us here around the Arctic. Look at these temperatures. This is what we're going to be waking up to on our Tuesday morning, so all of the winter gear will be on the checklist for sure. Even the sunglasses here, as we're expecting mostly clear skies during the morning hours here. Hot coffee, hand warmers for sure, hat and gloves for sure, and that big winter coat once again for sure. Here's a look at the forecast throughout the daytime hours tomorrow. We should start with mostly clear skies before clouds start to enter in from the west here for the most part, and temperatures should reach well above that freezing mark for the entire area around the Arctic here. But we should deal with below average temperatures for at least the next 6 to 10 days ahead of us, and that looks to be the same for the next 8 to 14 days ahead of us as well for most, if not all, of the Arctic. But we'll also be dealing with drier days here around the Arctic, so we may get a dent in the drought conditions from this past system here once all the ice melts, but we're still going to be going under quite a few days here without much rainfall here around the Arctic. And in fact, our rain chances only rise to around 20% at the highest here for our Friday, maybe a slight rain chance heading into the start of our next work week coming up. I'll be talking to you about your 7-day forecast coming up right after this. And here's a look at that First Alert 7-day forecast. The First Alert weather day lasts all the way through the rest of today and into tonight, mainly because of dangerously low temperatures that we should see by early tomorrow morning. But no more First Alert weather days ahead of us through the rest of the week and into the weekend, and where we should see well above freezing temperatures here by Tuesday afternoon, which should start the melting process, but some may refreeze some of the ice there as we move into early Wednesday morning here. Still cold nights ahead of us, but overall, below average temperatures are expected in terms of highs and lows throughout the rest of the work week and into the upcoming weekend. Spring season has arrived, causing many of you to come down with minor illnesses. But this isn't just because of the temperature change. Most of us know this time of year as the allergy season.
So our allergy season typically starts from mid-February up to October. However, there is one exception, and that's the cedar pollen. So if you're allergic to the cedar pollen, your allergy season can actually begin in winter time. And that's the one that we call the Texas fever or the cedar fever.
Pollen is one of the more infamous types of allergens that affect people during the allergy season. But only a few types of pollen cause people to experience symptoms.
And so tree pollens, of course, come from the trees. Okay, that's what we are seeing right now. That's what's blooming, and that's what's causing everyone trouble. More allergenic ones are your oak, ash, cedar, and they're all very common around here.
Dr. Khan mentions that many people believe pine pollen causes allergies to flare up, but it's not as prominent as the others mentioned. Believe it or not, the weather can play a huge role in the spread of pollen and other allergens.
Because if it's raining, if it's a light rain, usually the pollen settles down. However, if it's going to be windy or stormy, the problem is it can pollinate it further, because with the wind, most of the pollen gets spread out. And then with the heavy rain, if it's spreading, it catches some of that that moisturizer or the water, and it makes it more microparticles.
Dr. Khan advises taking showers when you come into your home for the day and replacing your home air filter around every 3 months. He also says there's a certain time of day when pollen is the highest.
Early morning, the pollen is high, especially the tree pollen.
So if you're planning any outdoor activities for the day during this time of year, it's best to wait until later in the day to do so. In Shreveport, meteorologist CJ Cartledge for KSLA News 12 First Alert Weather.